I'm a divorced single dad, father of 5 kids. It can be tough raising kids today. Believe me, there are high times and low times. It comes with the territory. But in all my years of parenting, I try to give some good advice. Advice to those parents who are out there willing to listen. My name is Price Van Ray, and welcome to my show. Today we're going to be talking about something I hold near and dear to my heart. I'm calling it, I Had a Great Childhood. But first, I want to congratulate all the new parents out there. Boy, are you in for the time of your life. This is an exciting time and a great adventure, so cherish every moment. Now on with the show. I had a great childhood. Absolutely, people. I definitely had a great childhood. And I know you guys hopefully had a great childhood too, and you want your kids to have a great childhood. But I'm going to tell you this. When I was a child, it was so much fun being a child. I took advantage of everything. And I'm definitely going to have to say it's a different generation. Of course, I have to say that because nowadays it seems like kids are plugged into technology. That's right. So I don't know if they really get to appreciate or take advantage of all the nuances of what it's like to be a child, to take advantage of walking around barefoot, anything like that. But I will tell you this. When I was a kid, we were always outside. My parents made sure we were never inside. We were outside having fun, outside playing in the hose. In fact, when we got thirsty, we would drink from the hose. It was instilled in us that water from the hose, which actually seemed to be the coldest water around on a hot summer's day, was absolutely fantastic. And I have to be honest, if I get thirsty on a hot summer's day, I have absolutely no problem grabbing a hose and getting some of that cold water. Just taking a sip cools me on the outside and inside. In fact, being a kid, I remember washing my parents' car. Me and my sister, we'd end up spraying each other's with the hose. It was so much fun. And speaking of getting wet outside with the hose, I don't know if anybody else did this, but when it rained, as a child, my mom would let us go out in the rain. We'd go outside in our bathing suits. We'd splash all in the puddles. We'd run up and down the street and scream. It was amazing. And I mean, for a child to have so much fun in the rain, I mean, maybe to be honest, my mom said this is a good time for them to get nature's bath. But in any case, playing in the rain, to me, was one of the best, funnest things I had ever done in my life. Have you guys ever played in the rain? Think back. Think back to a time when you were a kid and you could just smell the rain coming. And you said, I'm going to go play in the rain. You didn't have to go in a bathing suit. You could go in your regular clothes and just get wet. But to be a child and take advantage of something like that and have those long-lasting memories, something like that is truly and definitely amazing. Me and my sister, my younger sister, we would always go around town on our bicycles. Back then you could do that. You could ride for miles. No one would really bother you, and your mom wasn't really worried that much because you were in town. And we'd ride our bike up and down the streets and up and down hills. In fact, a few miles from where I live, we used to ride down Mulberry Street. Now, in case people don't know what Mulberry Street is, that's the street Dr. Seuss lived on. And when I was a child, we would always go over there and look at his house and go up and down the street. He lived on a hill. And to ride down that hill, I'm going to be honest with you, the things I did as a kid, I don't know how I survived into adulthood. It was some dangerous stuff, but it was fun, you know, to think back and say, oh, I had so much fun being a kid doing this and doing that. But I will say riding your bike as a kid down a hill through an intersection was definitely not smart. I don't encourage anybody to do this either, especially kids. But I'm just saying. And as a kid, the other things we would do with our bicycles is we would take a clothespin. I don't know if kids today know what a clothespin is, but it's a tiny wooden contraption, and you have a clothesline, and you could have it inside your house or outside, and you'd hang up your clothes, clip them on, like a little clip on, and your clothes would dry during the day. But we would take the clothespin and bend the playing cards and stick it on the spokes of our bikes just to make our bike sound like a motorcycle. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The card we used was my dad's, and I'm sure he was very, very upset that we would use one of his playing cards. I mean, who wants to use a parent's playing cards when they know full well you're not supposed to? And I knew we weren't supposed to, but it was a fun thing to do. And I don't know, I figured he had so many decks of cards until I got there, of course. But me and my friends would always, another fun thing we would do is we would play marbles. Now, marbles are these glass little spheres, maybe big as your thumbnail. And we'd make a circle, and we'd throw all our marbles inside, and you have to knock the other marbles out. Now, I guess as kids, you would, when you knock the other person's marble out, that marble becomes yours. But where I grew up, we were poor, so nobody kept everybody else's marbles. We just played for fun. And we had a great time doing it. And another great time we had was playing baseball. A lot of the neighborhood kids would get together, and we'd go to the park. And if for fun, we would just play baseball. Now, I was never really into sports, but when my friends played, it was fun. We loved doing stuff like that. And you can play baseball for hours. It's something you can do on a Saturday afternoon from sunrise to sunset. Because if you bring yourself a nice little PB&J, which I don't know if anybody knows what that is, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's your lunch. And we'd bring a little canteen. Back then we had like military canteens, and we didn't really have bottles of waters when I was a kid. I mean, we're talking like 40 years ago. And we would just sit and have fun. And when we were done playing baseball, if somebody wanted to play basketball, we would sit there and play basketball because that's what our friends wanted to do. I remember as a kid, my parents sent me to camp for 2 weeks. It was probably the best experience I ever had. I mean, I made so many friends. It was the first time being away from home. And I can't say, maybe a few times I wasn't feeling a little homesick, but the experience and the friends I made up for it, occupied me. I mean, we would do a lot of great things like field day. We would swim every day. We'd go canoeing, walk the trails. This is something that kids really love to do. And I'll never forget the great friends and the memories that I made. Not many kids get to go to camp, but the ones that do are very lucky and are very fortunate. I went there on a scholarship because, like I said, we didn't have a lot of money. And it was great. My family also took us across country. My dad, he had built up a lot of vacation time, over a month. That's incredible. So we went across country. My mom made a plan, did up a whole map where we were going to go. And it was fortunate that we had family all over the U.S., so we always had a place to stay in every state. Now, my mom, she's a good one for keeping in contact with people. She loves to write letters. I mean, she writes letters every day. That's like her trademark. But I remember going across country, she showed me so many things. My mom and my dad. I remember one time we were driving across country, and it was a beautiful, beautiful sunset. My mom said, "Price, do you see the clouds?" I said, "Yes." I believe I was probably about 7 at the time. My mom said, "Can you see the color green?" I said, "No." She said, "Look really hard. Concentrate and look at all the colors." I kept saying, "I don't see it." My mom said, "Look, look." And then finally, I could see the colors she was talking about. My mom was an artist, and my mom knew I loved to draw. So she was trying to teach me colors of the world, all the colors in the clouds, everywhere you see, that you don't really acknowledge or recognize unless you actually really look. I'll never forget that. I remember the car broke down, and we had to stay at a rest area overnight. Me and my younger sister, we were playing on a hillside, and at the bottom of the hillside, there was a creek, and we played there. It was so much fun. That was one of the best times I've ever had with my younger sister. To be young, to run up and down hills, to play in the water. I mean, we didn't care about the car. We weren't even scared because my dad and mom were there. They were going to take care of everything, and they sure did. My parents also showed us the landscape, the Blue Mountains. She showed us Yellowstone. I remember we went to Old Faithful. Not many people get to see that. And it was amazing to see the geyser of water shooting up out of the ground. We went to the Grand Canyon, which was huge, enormous. We saw Las Vegas. It was like a city in a desert. Then my parents took us to the ocean. The ocean out there by California. So amazing, so blue, so beautiful. But to see the landscape change from the east to the west, that was incredible. My dad showed us his home in Mississippi. Now, my dad grew up very poor. When he grew up, there was no running water. He was the son of a sharecropper, so he had it really rough. And it made me appreciate, after seeing what he went through and had to endure, it made me appreciate the life I had. I was poor? Never. Not compared to my dad. I was the richest person alive. Because I had so much. And it wasn't about money. It was about love. Friendship, caring, family. All I have to say is what a childhood I had. It was special, and I'm thankful that I was loved by my parents. They showed me the world and made sure I was safe from harm. Not many kids have a great childhood like mine. Not many kids see the world. When I was a kid, I knew that we were not rich but poor. But I can honestly say that never once did I ever feel like I was poor. Because I was taught being rich is not about how much money you have, but about how much you can love and be loved by family, friends, and others. Thank you for a great childhood, Mom and Dad. I only hope I can be a great parent as you were to me. I want to thank everybody here for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new podcast is posted. Rate and review this podcast and share it with your family and friends. I hope that you're leaving with some great things to think about. Remember this one last bit of advice. Tomorrow is never promised, so don't go to bed angry at your child or anyone you love. And before you go to bed tonight, hug your child and tell them, I will love you forever, Dad. See you next time here on Forever Dad.